Now, welcome back to another episode of Breaking Barriers. I'm your host, Eric Payne. Thank you for tuning in and listening and watching. I've appreciated all the positive feedback that I've gotten so far. Last we left off, I did the whole breaking news that, believe it or not, I went to prison for 6 years. So I want to sort of touch base with that. And I was listening to Ed Milet earlier, and he said it best. There's a moment when every boy realizes no one's coming to save them, and that's when they become a man. And some stay boys because they refuse to believe that nobody's coming to save them. They stay children forever. And for me, even though when I went to prison I was 23 years old, I was considered a man. I didn't want to accept it, and prison was that wake up call. When I went to prison, I had gotten to the time of being there that the only person that could save me was me. And in my heart and in my mind, I was alone. It was real hard for me. I didn't hear from a lot of people, and I get it. The people that are my friends and my family, they didn't put me there. I put me there. I had to take responsibility for my actions. And that's probably one of the hardest pills people have to swallow. People like to beat on that victim drum and play victim. And the louder they beat, they think the more people will side with them. But that wasn't me. I didn't want to play the victim. I made the decisions to put me where I was. And now I had to figure out how to get out of that position. So sitting there, realizing that I had to save me, that I had no body, it sucked. It was hard. And I'm not a real emotional person, because while I was there, I didn't have anybody to reach out to really. But so in my mind and in my heart, all those people from my past died. Like, I mourned their death in a prison cell. And when you're in prison, I was around 120 men. And there's just something you don't do in prison, and that's show a weak side to you. So here I am, mourning the loss of my friends and my family that I had prior to coming in, and nobody there to console me. That was probably the hardest part of doing my time. I did not let it keep me down. It made me work harder to realize I had to take care of myself for once in my life. And man, it feels good. So I'll be jumping through some scenes in a movie, pretty much like in a movie, back and forth. But I'll tell you, before I got out, I got put in that program where I had another inmate coach me on life decisions. How crazy does that sound? So the community I was in, as a prison pod, was called the FACT community. It's a reentry program out of Virginia. And in this program, you have to hold yourself accountable, and you have to hold other inmates accountable for their bad behavior. Yeah, it does. Yeah, that thought that goes to your head. Yeah. It was hard because it wasn't like you were holding them accountable behind their back. You actually had to write on a piece of paper what you were holding them accountable for and hand it to them. And they had to sign it. And then you had to turn those in to what's called a coordinator. They are inmates who run the program. Yes, inmates run this program. So it's scary. It's terrifying. It's no different than snitching on somebody. And that's how we all looked at it. But if we didn't complete this program, they took years off. They put years back on our sentence. They took our good time away. You earn good time. So if you didn't comply and complete the program, they take your good time away and they'd keep you in prison for more years. But that is where we had to do classes. We had to do all this other criminal addictive thinking was probably one of the hardest courses to go through because it made you think and realize, what kind of thought process you had. When people make mistakes, they always like to use that excuse, oh, I wasn't thinking. No, there's always a thought process. You're always thinking something before you do it. It's just against your better judgment of which decision you decide, which route you decide to go with that thought process. And that was so hard, especially with, prior to me getting out, I was in general population with murderers and robbers and people serving life sentences. So I was hardened. I don't know if you know this or not, but prison doesn't really help people if they don't have the right outside support to back it. Prison actually turns people into warriors, into animals, and that's why so many people reoffend. So I'm going through this program and I'm learning, and it's so hard because I'm taking what I had to learn the 5 years prior and throw it all away. I had to learn the criminal thinking and get rid of it. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing because it has helped me succeed so much with my thought process when I hit the streets and came to Oklahoma. I became a man in prison. People think I'm crazy, but prison saved me because I'd either still be in prison or be back in prison or I'd be dead. Like I was saying, the recidivism rate, which is the return rate of people who have been in the system, they have a 98% chance of staying in the system. Myself, along with a few other gentlemen that I still talk to that are doing fantastic, just as good as me. Some are doing way better than me. But we were all in that program together. But this message is, if you're not willing to throw the victim stance out the window and stop beating that victim drum, you will forever be the victim. And if you stay around those same people, if you know that you're playing the victim and you still hang out with those friends that tell you what you want to hear and not what you need to hear and keep pushing you to play the victim drum, those are not your friends. Those motherfuckers are what's holding you back in life. You don't need them. Kick them to the rocks. Who cares? The hardest thing to do is be by yourself. That is probably the number one hardest thing to do in life, is realize that you are by yourself. But being by yourself isn't a bad thing. It gives you that time to think, to reflect on life behind you. If you dwell on the past, you live in the past. If you live in the past, you can't move forward. And if you can't move forward, you'll never have a future. And I've lived by that the entire time. That is my saying. I thought it up. I can't give anybody any credit for that. And I hope that somebody listens to these words and actually looks at their life and they're like, holy shit, I've been playing that victim drum. Don't play the victim drum. Break out of it. It's okay. You don't have to be the show of the party. I hate being the show of a party. It kind of sucks because I, like Tupac, all eyes on me. I don't want any eyes on me. Please don't watch me. No, I'm kidding. Watch this, but learn from it. I'm here to give you the tools to build and be better. If you have a hard time getting away from playing the victim, you really need to reflect on your life and the decisions that you are making. Not that you've made, What decisions from this point on are you making? Turn it around. Be independent for once. Don't look to fall on somebody. And I know when I came to Oklahoma, I had to live at my parents' place and I had $300 to my name and I couldn't ask them for nothing because they weren't doing too good. So I had to rely on myself to make sure that when I went to work, I busted my ass and made sure that I was a valuable asset to the company I worked for. And I've excelled and progressed ever since. You don't need people to be able to achieve success. The only person you need to achieve success is yourself. Now, like myself, I have somebody that pushes me way past the limit that I feel I can get, but she pushes me to overreach to make sure that tomorrow when I wake up, I have a hand to grasp hold of to propel me even farther. It's tough. It's tiring. I miss birthday parties. I miss going out with people that invite me to go out. But I just have too much that I'm trying to accomplish. And I'm on a roll. And I want to get you on the same roll. Because, like I said, I spent 6 years in prison. I've been out for 10. If I can get this far in life with my background and the way that I used to be, anybody can do this. I promise you, it's hard. It takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. It's just like going to the gym. If you say you want to get fit and you go to the gym and you look at yourself every day after your workout, you aren't going to see the results. But the people that see you every other week, once a month, once a year, they're going to look at you and be like, damn, they look good. It works. Self-help is the same exact way. You won't notice the changes. Other people will. You understand? But I love you guys. If you're not following me, follow me on Facebook. If you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, I would greatly appreciate if you go subscribe, comment, like it. I love you guys. Don't forget that I'm here for you. If you need me, call me. Shoot me a message. I answer. Love you guys. Have a great day.